did. If you push *6, it will unmute you. But I just did it just now. If you want to wait 1 minute before that, but if not, yeah, I'll start the meeting. Because all it is administration, right?
Yeah.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yay, there you are.
Gotcha, buddy.
There we go.
Zack Attack is back.
Okay,
back.
we are up, running, recording, and live.
All right, sorry about that, guys. But back to that meetings in hotel room, so I'm kind of at the mercy of the Wi-Fi, but we are good. All right, Greg, did you officially open it yet or not yet?
I was just going to, as I texted you the information, I just texted you, and I said,
Okay.
well, wait 1 minute, and you got on, so I haven't done it yet.
All right. So then I will officially call the meeting to order. It is 7:13 p.m. here on May 26th, 2021. And in lieu of the Pledge of Allegiance, we will just take a brief moment of silence to think of those who are struggling through the COVID pandemic, please. All right, excellent, guys. Thank you. And Jonathan, as the clerk, do you mind reading the statement off the top of the agenda for me?
I don't have it. I don't have it in front of me. I didn't know that I was expected to do that automatically, so I will have it for the future meetings.
Okay. All right. No problem. It's not anything that you have to do. I just usually would have Michelle do it as the clerk. So if it's something that you want to do,
I will memorize it for the future. Believe it or not, that's how I generally do those things. And then after that's read, I will I'll share what was shared at the boss meeting about future meetings.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. Okay.
So Carrie, I guess if you have it.
Sure, I could do it if you'd like.
Sure. Yep.
Sure. Okay. So due to the increasing concerns surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will be held remotely with no physical meeting location. Those seeking to provide public input should do so using the methods listed below. Video and audio of the meeting will be aired on Comcast Local TV 9 at a later date. The live recording of the meeting will be available on the Town of Dighton YouTube channel, which can be accessed using this link, youtube.com, Town of Dighton, Planning and Land Use. Public input may be provided using the following methods. Contact our office at keisterday@dighton-ma.gov. Use email subject line ZBA regular meeting, May 26, 2021, public input, and include your name and address for the record. Call 508-669-6431, extension 114 during the meeting. Leave a voicemail if necessary. Or join the Zoom meeting at www.zoom.com or dial by your location at 646-558-8656. And the meeting ID is 939-1182-4424. And the passcode is 510277.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the first real item on the agenda today is to reorganize the board.
Forgive me, you can strike that. I was supposed to take that off the agenda.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking like
From the last
did that,
meeting.
right?
Yeah, forgive me.
No, that's okay. The next thing would be just to confirm the next meeting date, which we have here, June 23rd, 2021. Just before we do that, what is everyone's general feeling about considering doing in-person meetings? I was discussing it with Kerry, and I am fine with it, and I will do it as long as it's unanimous among the board that we are all comfortable. If there's one person who's not comfortable, then I don't want to do it until we all are. I'm not saying I have to decide right now or tonight, but I just kind of want to get a feel of what everyone's thinking.
Zach, there was discussion at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, which I was listening in on before I came over here. And that specific issue came up with everything being relaxed, town hall being open. the meeting room downstairs at Town Hall now being available again. And the numbers, and also Old Town Hall, of course, upper level.
Yep.
And then the numbers being increased of people who could be at different types of meetings. The overall discussion was that they're encouraging all committees who are wanting and willing at this point to begin the process of matriculating back to in-person meetings. The questions are going to be going forward, do they continue to use Zoom or not? And right now, the governor's office is still allowing things like Zoom and remote, conversation within meetings to be there. There may be questions about that going forward as to, production of documents or how people would contact, the committees if they want to ask questions during public, when there's public discussion and so forth as well. But right now, the town is encouraging meetings to begin up at Old Town Hall or wherever meetings normally would have taken place.
Okay. Carrie, now I know right before COVID hit, we were running into that point where we had a space and then select, and then we were all set, and then we went to the Zoom meetings, and then selectmen decided to start meeting on our night, and obviously that caused a bit of problem with the broadcasting. What is it? Do you have any idea what we would be looking at for meeting spaces when and if we decide to meet in person?
Right. I would have to speak to the selectman's office about that and find out. So I have to do a little research on that. Greg, I'm sorry.
I had, go ahead, Zach, I'm sorry.
For you, Carrie, with the position you have now, is it easier or harder for you to do the same night as planning? I know, obviously, who knows how long their meetings go, but is it more convenient, or would you rather just do two separate?
I don't think I'd be able to do both, only because with planning, we have several public hearings, and especially with Forest Hills, that drags on for a really long time.
Right.
That goes for hours. And so, and then anticipating some public hearings coming up for you guys, I just don't see how that would be able to work.
Yes, it's totally fine. It didn't matter to me. I just didn't know if it was more convenient for you. That's all.
Yeah.
Zach,
so
I have a couple questions.
I don't think that would be doable at all.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, Greg.
So the only concerns I have is we have 6 members right now that are on the board, possibly a 7th coming on. We still have to maintain the 6 foot apart unless they've been had the shot. Am I correct on that?
Well, we don't have 6, so Greg.
Well, right now it's with Kerry, you, Peter, Jonathan.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just going through what I'm trying to come up with a plan here. Then we're going to I'm not opposed to going back to the meetings, but I'm concerned if the public comes to the meeting, how are we going to maintain distance between, let's say we have 3 cases, because it does get busy, and we have 3 members, there's 9 people for those 3 cases plus us in one room. Is that going to be still okay?
I think that's kind of one thing that Jonathan was getting at, where, do some boards in some towns, and this would be an example of which you would still use Zoom to prevent that. And I think I don't know if we ever have, but maybe when we were in the small room before it was finished renovating and it had a very small size, people would almost filter in and out, almost like office hours, or it might have even been when we were in the old town hall. I think I remember boards coming in, not boards, I'm sorry, cases coming in and out, kind of like a teacher conference type of thing, where it's like, there aren't audience members unless you're involved in that case, kind of thing.
Zach, I think this might answer the question that Greg has a little bit, but when I say answer, this is going to mean that Carrie, maybe you can make a call on Monday when you're back. But as an example of allowing more people per room. So if you keep in mind, the high school graduation at the high school was not going to be held in the auditorium because the maximum number of people they could have allowed as of last week was 160 people. The governor was 160, so they could not hold the high school graduation in the high school at the auditorium. Because they have now relaxed those regulations and the governor has changed things as of the 29th this Saturday, the high school is now going to be holding the high school graduation in the auditorium. So obviously the
Right.
numbers per square foot have changed. I'm assuming what that also means, based on what I heard this evening earlier, is that the total number of 13 people allowed at Upper Town Hall meeting room is now going to be expanded, but to what number, I don't know. So maybe, Carrie, if it's
Right.
possible, we could check on that Monday, and maybe that'll predicate whether we, where we go with the next meeting.
Well, we don't. We wouldn't have to have that posted on until the usual deadline. So we wouldn't need an answer
Yep.
right away if they don't know yet. Because for all we know, we can get an answer, and then a week later it could change for the better or worse. Who
Absolutely.
knows?
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, does that date work for everyone at least? I mean, with me, if it's in person, I can do what I can to make sure I'm around. I shouldn't be too far away. If anything, I can come home for the evening if I'm within the state. But is there anyone that they know they can't do that date?
Zach, that date doesn't work for me, Jonathan. The only thing I would suggest is if we were going to do it, and for those of you who may have listened to other meetings that they're already holding at the upper town, the Old Town Hall upper level, it makes a difference on where microphones are placed and where people are and so forth, because some people who are in person are still really hard to hear if you're listening through Zoom at the same time. So The only thing I would say is if we're going to do that on the 23rd in person, it might make sense for us all to be there a little bit early, because we may have to do some sound checks with, with the mic system and so forth, with cable as well.
So are we being required to start doing our meetings, Kerry, as of that date, or is it up to the town?
As far as I know, the last word I had from a text earlier was that the town administrator was going to come up with some type of policy or something, and then was going to let us know. So it's still kind of up in the air as far as I know. I haven't gotten anything official. I haven't received anything official from the town. I did receive something official from the state saying that they were lifting the COVID restrictions as of June 15th. But I haven't heard anything from the town officials on what they were doing moving forward. So I was going to reach out to them.
So Carrie, when you say policy, I mean, obviously it's not my business, nor is it anyone's business to know who isn't vaccinated or who chooses to. But when you mean by policy, do you mean like, are they going to want us to disclose anything? Are they going to want us to, do you know what you meant by policy?
I think it sounded like to me, and just going by from what Mr. Gale was stating as well, is that their policy is going to put in place is that each board and committee is going to be encouraged to do in person to the best of their ability, but also recognize that obviously there may be some circumstances if there's still some restrictions in place. If they can't do it, then they're going to continue to do the Zoom.
And also,
right.
Zach, Zach, there was also a discussion about we're not going to be able to, we can only encourage people to please do not come if you're not vaccinated. We can't force it. We can't ask them to produce any documents, things like that either. I think the main issue about, how meetings are going to be conducted going forward with the restrictions being lifted is that the state needs to give its how they're going to mandate any changes on public meeting law.
Right.
And for open meetings, that's really what's going to dictate how far we go.
Right.
So I know, because this matters for me from my work on the 29th, so 2 days from now, the whole mask mandate, we no longer have to wear masks at work now. Now, again, that's my work, but that is coming from the state. So I'm assuming on, when the 29th hits, I'm assuming there are other places that are going to be affected by that.
That was the same discussion that was had earlier again, is that even people coming into the buildings now, we can encourage people to wear masks, including ourselves, but we cannot enforce it. Right.
Okay, so I mean, obviously we'll have to wait. I would say probably, a little bit before determining the where, but the when is still good for everyone.
Our dates could be exact.
That works for me. Yes.
All right. Carrie, how about you? I assume there's no planning or anything that day we have to worry about.
No.
No, well, I'm good.
Good.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So then the next thing on the agenda we have. Oh, let me pull this back up again. Okay, so business. We have to review, discuss, and act. Request for consideration as member for Susan Gray. The stamp is covering it. It's Pritchard. Am I correct in the pronunciation of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is she here tonight? Is she here tonight on the meeting?
She did not, I did invite her, but she has not appeared.
Okay.
Zach, I did interview her, Jack. I did speak with her for a lengthy
Excellent.
45 minutes. She definitely, even though her resume is mostly about nursing, her father was a builder in town. She's always got a lot of interest in land and the saving of properties and things of that matter. She has great ideas. She's like she said, she's not trying to come in here and turn up the world the first day. And I told her nobody's expecting that. But you know, she's very interested, and she seems like, to me, honestly, she'd be a good fit for the board. She was very excited. I did say something to her too, and maybe I spoke out of place. We had a
No,
handbook
that's all right.
from Massachusetts. You know the handbook, the hardcover book that we have.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you know the book we have? If she was elected, appointed to the position of the zoning board, would she be able to get one of those books from the town hall? Do you have one, Carrie?
I
do have
think
an
as a
extra
member,
one.
and even still, I mean, in my opinion, of course, as a member of the town, I mean, it's a public document. You know, was she not a member or a potential member and she wanted to keep it? You know, I think that's obviously, if we didn't have one lying around and a very large expense, you know how much those things cost. But
Right.
if she's a member of the board or even being considered one, I would say she should absolutely get one. We all do anyway. So
Yeah. So I was explaining it to her that I got one of those, and in my free time, which is very rare, I kind of look through it, or if I come up with a question, and you know, don't feel offended when we go back and you bring it and put it on the table, you know, because the questions that come up and you're not sure. And our board is, we have a gentleman, I told her about your father, Peter. He's been on the board. He's kind of been a mentor the way you're doing the zoning. And, you know, with him around, he'd be an asset to help her understand things with questions and things like that I might not be able to help her or you. I told her, I says, time is how you'll learn with the zoning board. Nobody's going to expect you to come in here and put out a fire first day.
yeah,
You know,
I mean, obviously, we all know she can talk to whoever she wants on the board whenever she wants, as long as it's not involving any particular details on any case or even hypotheticals. But if it's strictly as, hey, how would one apply this law in the past or something, or hey, you know, how does the board typically handle this or that? I mean, by all means, she can talk to anyone she wants, of course. So, I mean, Greg, obviously, besides you and my dad, who've been here the longest, I feel like if she's good, if she gets your seal approval, then I don't think there's any reason to question anything more.
No, I think she'd be a good fit for the board.
So, Carrie, did the selectmen want a vote on this, or they just want to know how Greg's interview went? What they're looking for?
I think you need a vote to recommend her to the Board of Selectmen for an appointment.
Okay. All right. So that being said, do I hear a motion on the floor to accept the, or I should say, to submit to the Board of Selectmen the recommendation to appoint Susan Gray Pritchard to the Dayton Zoning Board of Appeals?
This is Jonathan. I will make a motion that we appoint Susan Gray Pritchard to serve as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
And is there a second?
This is Gregory Logan. I'll second that motion.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Jonathan, aye.
Greg Logan, aye.
All right. Excellent. So Carrie, I guess if they're looking for a letter, if you have the chance to type it up, if they're looking for my signature to be actual and in person, I will be back in town on Monday. If they wanted it before then, you can take this as verbal that I would have no problem with Greg signing that in my place if they wanted it in person before that. And if they want it if through email is fine, then I can take care of that. It's whatever the selectmen want.
Okay. I think it's just a memo from me saying that you guys made the proper vote, and that'll be fine.
Okay.
All right. And just keep in mind, Monday, it's a holiday, so the town hall is closed. So,
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
yeah.
So that kind of segues into the next item on the agenda, was to review, discuss, and act a 2-week vacation carryover request for office manager Carrie Easterday. So Carrie, if you want, I will let you take the floor on this one.
So in our clerical union contract, it gives us the option to carry over 2 weeks of vacation. And obviously with COVID and everything going on, wasn't able to use my vacation.
Yep.
So just need approval from the board allowing me to carry over 2 weeks into the next fiscal year to present to the Board of Selectmen so that they can approve it on their end.
Sure. So now this is, I guess, more of a question. I mean, just a point of order, I guess you could say, because it's a union position, they still need board approval for it.
They need the board to say, yes, it's okay on your part because you're, quote, my department head. So the department head has to approve it.
Right. I guess
yeah.
Right. I guess I wasn't sure that if it was something that the union was going to step in and say, no, these positions are getting this kind of thing. I wasn't sure where the union would fit in there. I was just curious.
Yeah, it's more of a formality. And actually, someone had mentioned to me that they didn't even think that the Board of Selectmen really need to act on it because it's in our clerical union contract. But I just
right.
I like to cover all my bases and just make sure.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Of course. Yeah.
So just to cover, I will make a motion happily, by the way,
Thank you.
that we grant to Carrie Easterday the ability per her union contract to carry forward her 2 weeks of vacation from this year to next year.
Thank you.
In a second.
I second
Greg
it.
Logan, I
Peter.
second that motion. Peter? Cool.
No, it's fine.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Carrie, you're granted vacation.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I think that was it, except for for correspondence, correct, Carrie?
We just need approval of the meeting minutes for March 24th and April 28th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped on the agenda. Yes, I do have some correspondence. We did receive.
That's okay.
Sorry, I'm really anxious to get to
You want to really get on that vacation?
go on my vacation for a rainy day weekend. Sorry. We did get correspondence from the housing assistants, just letting us know that the Housing Assistance Corporation is serving as the monitoring agent for the several affordable developments in Dayton as monitoring agent, who's responsible for ensuring the ongoing compliance by affordable unit owners with the terms of their affordable housing restriction, including requests for refinancing, capital improvements, and resale. This letter is to update you on the status of affordable units in Dayton for which HAC acts as monitoring agent. Below is a chart which breaks down any new updates for 2020. So the development, Dayton Woods, affordable units is 18, resales is 2, capital improvements is 0, refinances is 1, and 0 foreclosures. And that's it. That's all I got.
Do they have anything in there on the other developments like Stony Ridge?
They did not list. That was the only one they had was Dayton Woods. Yeah, they only listed, I think because this is just to update on the status of units in Dayton. Yeah, so all they listed was Dayton Woods.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So
Go ahead.
and I'm sorry, no public input. So now we can approve those minutes.
Okay. Do I have a motion on the floor to approve the minute? I just lost the page. The meet for the April meeting. Sorry, I would have the exact date, but
The March 24th and April 28th.
Okay.
if that helps.
Is there a motion on the floor to approve these minutes?
Go ahead, Jonathan.
I'm sorry, I was saying it, but I was muted.
Oh,
Go ahead, Greg.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes for April 28th and March 24th.
all right. Is there a second?
Second.
I can't do it all, you know. Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, Greg Logan.
All right. Just a brief thing for public input, or just before we hang up. It's not involving anyone on the board, but so Carrie, I figured out why this morning the first signatures didn't go through. So when with the on the signatures for the Adobe sign, the way it comes over on my iPad, it's a bigger screen. So after I sign, on the bottom right, there's something that like sends it over. On my phone, that button didn't pop up. So what I did was I just signed them and then, shared the link to you, and then it must not have taken the signatures because you got it right away with the second one, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That must be it because I the format that you used to send it, I haven't had a problem before, but I also realized,
Right.
wait, I don't think I've ever done it on my phone before, so that was probably why.
Okay.
Harry, you sent something just before the meeting tonight about signatures.
Yes.
Is there something I'm supposed to be signing? Because if so, I'm going to have to figure out how to do it electronically or just come in and do it.
Okay, you can do it either way. It's actually the payment designation form. So that is the, because we reorganized the board,
Yep.
it now changes so that when Zach's absent, then Greg can sign. And when Greg is absent, then you can sign.
Okay.
So that's the official form that I need you to sign. So if you can't do it online, you're of course, more than welcome to come in. and
Okay. I'm
sign
going
it.
to try and do it online just because.
Yeah,
see how it
if you
goes.
can't, really, no big deal.
Okay,
More
thank
than
you.
welcome to come in.
I
and
am-
visit.
I am doing it right now. Click to sign. Okay, so I did it just now, so you should see it any second, but I signed my portion just now.
Perfect. Thank you.
So then the other signatures that you will need will be, of course, I just sent, so I don't have it in front of me. It was John and Greg and my father, or just two?
It will be all four of you. So,
Okay.
Peter, I'll need one for Peter. I already told Peter.
Yep.
And then, yeah, and Greg, I already got Greg's. So we should be all set.
I guess, but before we adjourn, is there? Obviously, we started talking about this before, but and obviously we don't know anything yet. But is there anyone who feels like they would rather not be so quick to meet in person? Or obviously, if you want to discuss this offline, that's okay too. But how is everyone feeling about the idea?
Well, I'm just concerned about the public coming in, meeting with us. Everybody's been so trying to keep so distancing and masks on, and then now with this being said, we don't have to wear masks. People coming into
yeah, I
the
know.
meetings. I get a little nervous on that. That's my
And
opinion.
I mean, and obviously for me, since I don't have to ask anybody for a ride, any of you or my wife or anything, this is certainly easier for me. Having said that, I recognize that we do have to get back to normalcy, and I hear Greg's concerns too. So, I'll do whatever.
So let's make a motion. We'll do Zoom for the next 30 years.
There you go.
Yeah, no, yeah. I guess the only thing for me would be, and I'm kind of getting ready to face this too with customers in stores where yes, the CDC and the state have laxed their laws, but like I promise you, there will be a customer down the road who's like, well, why aren't you guys making us wear masks? It's like, well, the state says we don't have to. I can't control it, but you'll still find people who are still going to be upset. That being said, my concern is that, again, I'm being completely hypothetical. We have someone in the audience who's like, why are you, I don't want them sitting next to me. They don't have a mask on. Like, I can see that happening someday. And so, Greg, to go along with you, that's my concern, where it's going to be hard to us during a meeting potentially to quote unquote police the audience members should something happen. But I guess, as long as we're following the directives of the town, and then I guess we let the administrator and selectmen take it from there should any big complaints. It's more just I just hope that we can do what we can in the moment should something come up. I mean, amongst the board, I feel completely fine. I would assume everyone else does too. But you know, like with the public, I mean, yeah, you could be sitting 2 feet from someone who has no mask and did not get a vaccine. But you know, so it is a fine line, Greg. I completely agree with you.
That's all. I mean, I'm not opposed to going back to the meetings. I just
No,
don't want to
no.
rush. I think everybody's rushing going back with no mask right now, even though they're.
I'm surprised how soon it was too, Greg. Yeah.
It's just going to backfire on us.
Yeah, and for the record, I'm not saying that I thought the town was moving too soon. I don't mean that at all. I guess, you know, 3 months ago, I thought the state and the country wouldn't be even saying the words no masks until at least like November of this year. I'm surprised how quickly the discussions happen. I know that, you know, the vaccine turnout has been great, it seems, but I'm surprised. Wow, we're already having this discussion. I did not think that was going to happen this soon, but.
Yeah. Like I say, I'll do whatever they want. I just, I'm not going to be offended I hope nobody's offended when I'm wearing a mask. So I just don't believe this.
Right. And
I would be wearing one as well, Greg, so.
Right. And yeah, exactly. That being exactly what you guys are saying. Yeah, you don't have to wear, but no one's saying you can't wear one. So if, you know,
right.
And it's kind of one of those things where if you're an audience member and you're that concerned, then stand in the back of the room or wear a mask or make sure that you're 6 feet apart, you know, or more than that. What about Mr. Karen/Dad? How do you feel?
Sorry, I was muted. No, I don't care. I think we should do Zoom meetings for as long as we can, but I'm not opposed to it. And I don't think the concern about the size of the crowd is valid, only because what we've done in the past when we've had large cases, we just have the second and third applicant, if there's more than one that night, wait outside and then bring them in accordingly. So as far as wearing masks goes, I think it's up to the individuals. If there's an audience member who's offended, like you said, they don't have to stay. It's up to the individuals. But I think the state's going to say that there's no restrictions on crowd size other than what's allowed by fire permit, and that the masks aren't going to be required.
I also think we'll clearly have guidance by then too from town administrator and so forth, and that's really what we're
one thing I thought too, like meetings like this, or if we just have to approve minutes and some correspondence, you know, it's almost like there's no reason to not do it on Zoom. But if we have a case where we know that the developer who has plans, you know, that's obviously something that's almost like, you know what, that kind of is easier to meet in person, because we all know we've tried to do that for Strawberry Fields and regular cases during the year, and Zoom kind of was difficult for people who either had computer difficulties or Wi-Fi difficulties or just could not see them based on what the person had in front of them. So you know, we could, no pun intended, and take it by a case-by-case basis, and we could look at the agenda and we can talk to Carrie and say, hey, how does this meeting look, you know, this month? If it looks light or pretty clear-cut cases or just a quick update from Marguerite, you know, maybe we don't need to meet in person. But if she's like, you know, we have someone coming through with, you know, 4 or 5 sets of plans and they don't really have a great way to show it, but they're going to do what they can, then maybe we say, you know what, well, then maybe we should consider meeting in person on this one.
And Zach, you know what, that's all well and good, except I think part of the issue going forward is going to be, and this is again where the state has to give some guidance for public meeting and public input, because I agree with you. If it were simply doing what we did tonight, I think we would all love to just continue with Zoom. But if it's a question of potentially we could have somebody right now who wants to have public input, but doesn't have access to technology or doesn't know how to use Zoom. So, you know, we're shutting them out of that public input. So I think that's part of the guidance we have to go with, whether we want to or not.
Right. And I have talked to Carrie about this. I'm sure she can speak on behalf of other boards where some audience members are having a hard time following through with their Zoom instructions, right, Carrie?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, I certainly wouldn't want to, you know, if we knew 110%, hey, we're following what we were following. I'm sorry if that XYZ person had trouble, but we did what we could. But if we didn't think that we did do all we could, then I would not be happy with that. If there was something on our end that we could have done that we didn't do.
would say that the problems that I have is when you have a large crowd, when you have a large
Right.
crowd, you know, when you have a small crowd, not even, I don't even want to call it, when you have a small gathering on the Zoom, it's very
Right.
manageable. But when you have a large one, it gets very chaotic.
Yeah.
And
Even if you have 100,
yeah,
even if you have
and
100 people who are following all the rules, it's still you're still gonna have things happen when you're like, oh my god, I don't know, it's lagging, and everyone by good faith is trying. It's still gonna be tough.
absolutely. And, you know, I tried as hard as I could to make the instructions very clear, concise, and simple.
Yeah. Do we have anything potentially on the agenda for next month, or nothing that you know of yet?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
But I am told something's coming in next week. So,
Okay. Okay.
so yes, we do have something coming in next week potentially. And then that's it. And again, you know, same thing. I've had a few inquiries, but nothing yet, which is surprising to me because of the inquiries. But now I haven't
guess
received anything.
I bet with things relaxing in terms of with COVID, you'll probably have, you know, it's one thing where that's, you know, everything's outside, but if developers are starting to open up their offices again and people are starting to do projects because they feel better going out to places to get things, then maybe we'll see that surge start to happen.
Yes, although, you know, Greg and I were talking before the meeting, it could also be because of, you know, the costs are just too high to do anything right now.
Right. The people trying to
Lumber.
make some money and get the business going up, get their business up and going again, or having a, yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's true.
Yeah.
Just,
I'm sure-
Lumber's up 62%.
Wow.
Oh my God. Is it really?
A 2x4x10 is $11.
All right, Greg, have you noticed any decline or hesitation on our clients at all, or?
I notice what I do for work. When I estimate, when I do the estimate and I send it out to the potential customer, I pretty much tell them we'll have to revisit, even though we agreed to the number, we're going to revisit the material costs because it could come down or it could go up more before we start the project. My labor's the labor. It is what it is, but I can't lock in. No lumber won't give you anything more than 5 days.
Oh.
Wow. Jeez.
Carrie, would you please, for me, if you don't mind, and if I'm saying this only because if I could see it, I wouldn't be asking. But for that correspondence that you read earlier, could you just send me the phone number and the name of the organization and the contact that's on that letter? I've had residents ask me in a couple of cases who the monitoring agent is for the town for a couple of reasons that were mentioned in there. Sure. And I didn't know who it was, so this way I can just pass it along. So if you could just shoot me an email with the name of the organization, the phone number, and who's ever signed it, that would be great.
sure, I'll be happy to.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty. Anything else, guys?
No, I'm good.
All right. All righty.
I will make a motion that we adjourn at whatever time it is right now.
I'll second that motion at 7:50 p.m.
My motion is to adjourn at 7:50 p.m. until the 23rd of June.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye, Greg Logan.
All right, guys. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you all. Carrie, have a great few days. Enjoy.
Have a good holiday.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you all.